Welcome to Order Militaris Radio TV, and we are going to do another report on the war that was started by Azerbaijan against Armenia, and Azerbaijani and Turkish forces attacking and bombing Nagorno-Karabakh. And it's getting really bad over there. There's video and reports about how the Turkish are flying their F-16s and bombing the civilians there, and the Azerbaijanis are using the artillery pieces to shell the cities. And civilians are dying, and no military personnel yet. And we welcome Brother Alexis Bonello to the show.
Thank you, AJ, for having me on. And it's a sad necessity. We have to talk about this war that, and we said on our previous show about this on Monday, that this is a conspiracy of two Islamic nations to wipe out a Christian nation. And the ambassador to of Armenia to the United States said that just this morning, or at least yesterday. I saw his video. He almost said exactly what we said, and we're not in any way representing the Armenian government. We don't have any communication with them.
We like them, but
so it's just, but it's obvious what's going on. Okay, it's obvious going on. If you look at map of the ethnicity, the entire area inside the borders of Armenia is Armenian, and that's where Armenians live. Azerbaijan is all Muslim, and they're attacking a Christian area. They're trying to conquer a Christian land. And it's really getting vicious. They're using Turkish military hardware to just bomb soldiers behind the lines who aren't even involved in any direct military activities.
Yeah.
Treating them as terrorists, and they appear to be using drone technology that Turkey's gotten from the United States. So it might be that, and well, the F-15s that Turkey's using are definitely from the United States.
Yeah.
So your taxpayer money or products produced in the United States are now being used to kill and bomb Christians. Where this is flashback to Kosovo, where NATO, the only time NATO ever took any action in Europe was to bomb Christians. Here's now a NATO power, Turkey is a NATO power, bombing Christians again. Does NATO exist for any other reason other than to bomb Christians? Never bombs Muslims, does it? I don't know if it does. I don't think so.
But anyway, the F-15s, F-16s are all Lockheed Martin technology based out of Georgia. And from what could recently find just before we started recording here, that by Qatar TB2 drones, Turkish medium altitude long endurance unmanned combat aerial vehicle, had been spurred by U.S. ban on exports of armed unmanned aircraft to Turkey due to concerns they would be used against the PKK groups inside and outside Turkey. Well, yeah, it's American stuff, folks. All the cameras, there's no way Turkey can produce all these specialized cameras and everything.
It'd be interesting it's interesting you noted there that the U.S. banned the export of its own drones to Turkey so that Turkey wouldn't use them to bomb communist Muslims. No word about so Turkey wouldn't use them to bomb Christian Armenians. No word of that at all, isn't there? So you can't bomb communist Muslims. That's just wrong. But you can go ahead and bomb Christians in Armenia. I don't think the U.S. government has even issued one warning about it. I haven't seen not even a peep. So Trump is all about making America great again, defending Christians, but he's letting a Christian country get bombed with American military equipment.
Yeah. Now I followed Oklahoma National Guard to see if we get any updates on their Twitter account. But of course, they ain't tweeting a word out. I wonder why that is. Are they over in Azerbaijan? And I think we lost Brother Alexis. Good morning to our censors. Please let him come back, please. Yeah, so we have F-16s that are produced by Lockheed Martin, bombing civilians. And we are back with Brother Alexis.
Yeah, it died as soon as you said as soon as I said, did the Oklahoma National Guard Twitter account go dark? And you said yes. As soon as you said that, my line to you went dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we're too close to the truth here, folks. So, what are some of the recent developments in the war?
Armenia has launched their ancient aircraft to try to stop Turkey's F-16s, but they're no match. One supposedly plane was shot down, and looks like the fighter pilot has been captured by Azerbaijan. And so the plane that Armenia uses is Sukhoi Su-25. It was developed in 1968 by the Soviet Ministry of Defense, and last made in 19 late 80s and early 90s. So, and only
I can see why you say it's antique. It's 30 years old.
And it's only like 1,000 were made, and it's pretty cheap to make. Only 11 million per plane.
Yeah, so it's hand-me-down stuff from the Russians, and I think it's a ground support aircraft.
Yeah.
Whereas the F-15 is a fighter. So it seems like the Turks are intent upon obtaining air supremacy over Armenia. And are the Russians doing anything about this? And does Armenia have any kind of military treaty with Russia?
Yeah, they have. I tweeted that out last night. It's quite interesting. And yeah, they have a treaty with Russia. And there is a base of Russian troops and fighter planes in Armenia that is, so if it gets any worse, the treaty says that Russia can become active and go attack whoever's attacking Armenia.
So it's a mutual defense treaty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't oblige Russia's intervention.
And here's the treaty. Reminder that Russia has had a military base with ground troops in Armenia since the 90s, as MiG-29 fighters stationed near Yerevan and an S-300V division stationed in Gyumri. Armenia and Russia have a unified air defense treaty and a similar treaty for a unified land force. So all they have to do is activate that, and it gets even bigger, folks. Then Russia enters into the fight.
At the present, I don't think Russia has the resources. They're pretty bogged down, and this war in Syria and the Ukraine really tasked them. And they started an oil war with the OPEC, selling oil so low that the value of oil went down to zero. And so they probably can only give hand-me-down equipment or use some of their current forces, but they're not going to risk their national security with all the NATO exercises going on in the Baltics and all the beefed up military hardware that Trump is putting to Poland and Hungary and countries like that.
Yeah.
But they'll probably use some of the size kind of stuff. I noticed that they've scrambled 2 of their jets over Yerevan. They're going to make sure that the Turks don't come and bomb their airfield and wipe out their entire air wing that they have there. And so they're playing it cautious at the present. But they're probably selling Armenia anything. The thing about Armenia is so poor, I don't think they could buy anything from Russia. And this alliance between Armenia and Russia is probably why none of the Western nations are going to come to the aid of Armenia, because they see Armenia as an ally of Russia.
Yeah.
And this also means that the Western nations may have asked Azerbaijan to begin this war, because it is a proxy war against Russia.
Yeah.
So we might here have the alliance of Islamic and Masonic nations against 2 Christian nations.
Yeah. What I find interesting, it was started when Trump announced Amy Coney Barrett to become the next Supreme Court justice. Then it really ramped up last night during the presidential debates.
Yeah, so it shows there's some kind of command and control with Azerbaijan and Turkey that's linked to U.S. military intelligence decision making, or the deep state. And as we explained, Trump is not the enemy of the deep state. If he was, he would have drained the swamp 4 years ago. He keeps claiming he's going to. That's his hypnotic method. But he has no intention of doing it because he is the deep state. The deep state is Brown Brothers Harriman. And Azerbaijan is like this with the international oil and gas industry, because they got funding and they purposely built a natural gas pipeline that goes through all the territories of the allies or neighbors of Armenia, or any country that might want to intervene against Turkey on behalf of Armenia, to kind of say, well, you stay out of the war, we'll turn your gas off. So that the course of that pipeline from Azerbaijan through Georgia, through Turkey, through Greece, to Italy, supplying countries like Bulgaria, pretty much gives them leverage over those nations to stay out of any kind of conflict.
And that's why Georgia won't open up the borders.
Is Georgia preventing supplies to getting to Armenia from their territory?
Once the call came out for all Armenians to join up into the Armenian military, the Armenians in Georgia were trying to get across the border, but the border guards wouldn't allow them to cross. And so, since they weren't allowed to cross, they are making sure nothing arrives through Turkey. Yeah,
so that is that's an act of belligerence, because people have the international right to cross borders. Why can illegal aliens cross the border into the U.S. or into Europe, but citizens of Armenia can't go back to Armenia? And that doesn't make any sense. And it's really shameful, because Georgia is a Christian country. They should be allowing Armenians to return to their homeland. If you understand, it's almost impossible to fly directly to Yerevan in Armenia. Normally you have to fly through the capital of Tbilisi in Georgia, or something like that, because Westerners can't fly to Russia and take a flight out of Moscow. And so this is a deliberate attempt to prevent Armenia obtaining additional manpower to win this war, and that's very devious. That means that if the war expands, Georgia will probably get involved, because Russia already has a beef with Georgia. Remember, under Bush in 2008, Armenia invaded this little republic on the border of Russia, and Russia came back and invaded, not only took it back, but occupied, I think, half of Georgia, and was there for a good 10 years. So Georgia and Russia have bad blood. And while Georgia wouldn't last a minute if Russia wanted to invade it, but
yeah. It seems like the Georgian Orthodox bishops have a lot of sway in Georgia, so if any of you bishops over there listening to this, you excommunicated the leaders once already. Do it again.
Yeah, let the Armenians defend their own country. That's only a right, you know. And the strange thing is that therefore the only border open to supply Armenia is the border from Armenia to Iran. So the Russians have to move their military equipment to Iran and then move it up through Iran into Armenia. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
Whereas Azerbaijan is getting military help from Pakistan, another ally of the United States. So the allies of the United States are all ganging up in Armenia, this Christian country, to finish off the genocide that happened a century ago.
Yeah, that's what the president of Armenia said. He's like, we remember what happened over 100 and some years ago. The millions of the genocide of Armenians. And you think this has nothing to do with it? You're dead wrong.
Yeah, I mean it's obvious when the Azerbaijani or the Turkish military are distributing freely on the internet videos showing them using behind the lines, you can see that this is a terrorist activity. This is Allah Akbar. This is religious war for them, and they're just loving it. They're just gushing with it because they're not ashamed. Every time they distribute one of these videos, they're giving information that could be used in the international court for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and crimes against Christianity. And as we said before, you should be boycotting everything from Turkey. Don't buy a blessed thing from Turkey. Don't buy it. Make sure any products, it's usually olive oil or dried dates in the United States, or sometimes even pistachio nuts.
Yeah.
That's about all that we import from Turkey. But if you're a company import any kind of product from Turkey, find another supplier. Show you that you stand with the Christians of Armenia.
Yeah. It's one way to hurt them.
The other thing is boycott products in Pakistan. Pakistan produces lots of textile materials. Don't buy anything from Pakistan.
So I have no idea what that fighter pilot's going to go through.
Yeah, he'd probably be tortured. So it has always been the goal of Ordo Militaris Catholicus, our international association of Catholics, to defend Christians wherever they're persecuted. And this is clearly an act of Christian persecution on a grand scale. For those of you out there, whether you're Armenian or not, okay, if you feel strongly about defending Armenia and you'd like to do it through our association, we'd love to raise enough capital to found a chapter of our order in Armenia and provide things like humanitarian assistance to civilians who've been injured in places of the country that are outside of the conflict zones, and do the little we can to show that Christians around the world are extending their hand to help. And so shortly I'll set up a page for that at Ordo Militaris, and we can raise the funds for that. So if you can buy our tea stock, that will help us found the company, and we'll start a humanitarian fund for them too. And you can make a donation that will be used for humanitarian aid, not for military supplies, not involved in the military conflict. The stock will be for corporations so we can undertake activities in Armenia in a legal way.
Yeah.
And I think that's the least we could do for the Armenians, our ancient allies of the Crusaders.
Yeah. Before we began, you were talking about setting up also a foreign legion.
That would be a dream, but we would have to talk to the Armenian government, and that's not something we could do here in the United States or Italy. That's something our chapter in Georgia would have to do. So we'd have to recruit some Georgians there to do it, just to avoid any problems with liabilities, because actually engaging in military activities requires the permission of the local government there. So,
yeah.
So that would be, I don't think we need to really do anything to inspire them to fight. The Armenians seem pretty zealous, but I know that there are a lot of veterans of U.S. and NATO forces who would love to fight side by side with Armenians against this vicious religious persecution begun by Armenia and promoted by Turkey and Pakistan.
No, not started by Armenia, Azerbaijan.
Excuse me, I'm getting senile. My own is started by Azerbaijan. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting me.
So, even though you don't see a lot of support by Americans on Twitter, a lot of American servicemen who have retired wants to fight and support Armenia. So, please get the T-Series stock to found the company in Armenia. Then next steps can begin, where maybe we can set up something or get some more manpower for the Armenian military. Because they sure gonna need it. And
yeah, it looks like it's gonna. It looks like Turkey. It looks like they have a strategic goal to conquer all of Armenia if they're eliminating the air support. So.
Yep. What's going on? Oh, okay. Just a Turk. Never mind. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to try to keep you updated on the Armenian war. Maybe we'll have to do one every other day. This is our second report this week because no one in the English-speaking world is doing anything on this. So we'll take the lead and follow the news. And maybe on Friday we'll do a second report on this. And if at least once a week, we may do several times a week, depending on what's going on in the war and how's it developing.
Yeah. And just wish the Western powers in Europe and even here would do something, say something, just to stop Turkey and Pakistan and all the other allies from ganging up on Armenia and stop Azerbaijan. I sent out a tweet this morning reminding Secretary Pompeo and President Trump about the Treaty of Versailles, about what we're supposed to be doing for Armenia and haven't been doing. And of course, they won't reply because, well, I don't think they even see their Twitter accounts. Their handlers see it.
Yeah, if you have any connection to a U.S. congressman, a U.S. senator, raise this issue about Armenia, the use of U.S. military equipment by the enemies of Armenia and the allies of the U.S. Something needs to be done here. There needs to be intervention to tell Azerbaijan to stop this. This territory has been owned peacefully by Armenia for 28 years, 26 years. Only Christians live there. Azerbaijanis don't live there. Azerbaijan has no moral right to start this war whatsoever.
So even though this is a short little program, it's just a short little update. And to get that stock, go to ordo-militaris.us. Go to the investment page, and you'll see different types of investment. You'll want to go to the T series and follow.
T.
follow. I think there's links to click and stuff there too.
Yeah, you have to get the prospectus, and then you fill out the information and show there. I'll do an update and do a special page for Armenian response shortly in just the next few hours.
Okay. So look for that, folks, on the Ordo Militaris website, and we'll be sharing it once it goes live on the website. And please be generous, and anything to the Lebanon donors about might have to switch the funds to Armenia.
Well, we're having a terrible difficulty getting funds to Lebanon. The government has done everything to everything to obstruct that. No sooner that the bomb blew off that they put a lockdown on for COVID-19, which doesn't exist. So you would have to spend 2 weeks in the country in a hotel at your own expense before you could begin any activities. They also stopped giving any licenses to found humanitarian organizations, and our contacts in Lebanon haven't really produced any kind of solid, certain way of solving those things. So if we wired the money to the banks only giving a third of the rate at exchange. So the 15,000 would be reduced to 5,000. They'd be like, so I may decide to write all the benefactors of that fund shortly a letter explaining what the situation is and giving you options of how to respond. But I can't say in public yet what that is. I haven't even made the decision.
Okay. So, if you're on Twitter and you follow us at aballman3 or Militarist Cast, you'll see us retweet the news reports of the war. And please follow us and keep liking and sharing the tweets. And stay tuned for next updates on the war in Armenia started by Azerbaijan. This is Order Militarist Radio TV signing off. Deus Volt.
Deus Volt.